Okay, just finishing up with a little bit of rolling footage here, just showing you the Emu Guard in action. Some of these clips are from a few years ago, actually before our first instructional. You can see here the top player taking the inside foot position, classic passing strategy, but it allows me to build straight into that classic backside tilt sweep. And then you'll see here, following up with a more recent addition here, I'll go through a De La Riva, reverse De La Riva style entry into the position where you can see that right foot extended in through the back. So that extended leg, as we talked about, just gives you that little bit more control, a little bit more leverage to be able to knock them down to a hip, and then follow through with the leg game here to play. Again, here I'm in that shell guard position to start with, and our opponent on top there controlling that top leg. Anytime they do that, it's very easy just to circle our leg inside on the bicep there to get a good purchase on their upper body. He'll step in here. Again, I go through another reverse De La Riva style entry to get into the Emu Guard, and again, pretty quickly extending that leg, knocking over, looking to heist up and take the top position. Now there's a bunch of clips against a younger, faster, more athletic, and definitely more flexible opponent. And again, he makes life very difficult just to catch onto his leg to start with. But once we get there, again, I'm able to get him into that front split position with a good pull and plank. And again, he puts his hand down. Once that hand goes down to the ground, as we said, whenever they're low, I can still switch up and use my hands to control his hands. Here again on top, another good controlling position. Again, he's very, very flexible. So even as I go and really stretch him out here, he maintains his balance. But again, we're in no threat here. My head's far enough. It's further away than the outstretched hand from the top. And again, as he gets low, I get to control that hand, only controlling his foot with the one hand at this point. He gets back up and repositions, so I go back to the double emu grip. This one in particular is interesting, just to show something that we've tried in the last couple of years which didn't really work, and that's switching from a classic double grip here as they turn their foot to try and go to a heel and toe grip. So I experimented quite a bit with this, had some initial success, but eventually abandoned it because it just wasn't a stronger grip. Here you can see that classic Ryan Hall principle, when he does extract his leg, there's always something left behind and we get to chase it up. One more time here, just really demonstrating again that shell guard, long, low leg and high, short leg. But again, just with that lateral movement there, classic sort of side-to-side strategy, trying to outflank. As soon as we grab a hold of that leg, that strategy is gone. So his mobility is severely compromised. Again, look at that flexible, stretched out position there. But even from here, I'm in zero danger of being passed, zero danger of taking any damage in a fighting context, and I can maintain control and have repeated attempts. So he comes up, he changes his posture again, I go and knock him off balance, and this continues a couple more times until finally, again, going from the front side to the back side, we manage to get the top position. Once again here, a bit of older footage, but again, building in, just showing the front side tilt game. And again, this is one of those things we spoke about that we've really not so much abandoned, but just it's more difficult to get against experienced opponents. But if I can get that knee to the ground to the front side, you can build up and reverse very effectively. There's probably a better example of it here. A lot of times, though, players in my gym, at least now, are pretty wary of it, and they make it very difficult to get that knee to the ground. But as I said during the instructional, it's really stimulated the Y guard to come into vogue. And again, that's a really great way of building from there if you can't get their knee to the ground. Here again, I think we build into another strong position. And here again, looking at a really powerful foot slide. So you see his foot slides back probably about a foot in distance, forcing him to turn, giving us a chance to win the inside position from the back there, get our legs inside and start to play whatever game our opponent allows us to do based on what their reaction is. Here again, going low, he goes down to a low emu. I get that bottom leg, extend that knee out and disturb his base, knock him over, so we end up in a side emu. Again, this is a newer, younger guy who really desperately tries to get his leg free here, trying all sorts of different things, pushing down on my leg, trying to change direction. But again, with that double grip hold there and with the extended inside leg there, very hard to get away. Again, building once more into that position. This is a more experienced guy in the gym, and I'm extending his leg out there, and he's seen this before, and so manages to find a decent strategy to build a long base out there. Again, wherever we're here though, I can always go back, reclaim that foot, and again from this position you'll see me do a very powerful slide from the outside to the inside there to come and knock him over and reclaim a modified side emu position. So I still have to do the work of building my bottom leg back inside here. Again, he sort of blocks that, and then we just go and take the top position. One more time, down nice and low, but this time building in for our long De La Riva hook. That's it, getting inside, looking to get behind with both feet. And from here again, as we looked at throughout the instructional, plenty of good options. I could quite easily just hoist up to my feet here just to take the top position. Lots of good options. And again, one more time, in through here again, but this time we catch the rabbit trap from the side emu. So the rabbit trap again, one of those innovations that's really changed the game. For the guy underneath here, I get extra control of that other leg. So I've got 2 hands on one foot and 2 feet on the other, giving us really great control on the ground. But just a few final thoughts before we wrap up. And so as I mentioned earlier throughout the instructional, modern jiu-jitsu and grappling is constantly evolving, and new positions and transitions are always being developed. If you take a look back at competition footage from the 90s and the early 2000s, you'll really struggle to find examples of the many now common innovations like berimbolo, 50-50, choi bar, Z-lock, false reap, aoki lock, buggy choke. The list goes on and on. Similarly, things like funk wrestling and Mongolian judo have only really emerged in recent decades. I recall John Danaher telling a story many years ago on an early BJJ Fanatics podcast with Bernardo Faria, querying if even something as ubiquitous as the triangle was a fairly new innovation in grappling. I mention all this just to highlight that while understanding the traditional set of high percentage fundamental moves is essential in anyone's development, there's also immense value in novelty and creativity. And so while grabbing a foot with 2 hands from the open guard seems pretty obvious once you do it, I haven't actually seen anyone do it consistently elsewhere before, so I'm convinced Emu Guard is a new innovation worth pursuing. High percentage moves very quickly develop high percentage defences, so any legitimate innovation can offer a huge advantage until proper defences have been developed. And we've seen this multiple times over the years with the likes of the Mendez and the Meow brothers dominating in the early days of the berimbolo, Ryan Hall with his 50-50 game in MMA, and the Danaher death squad leg locking system in modern no-gi grappling. Hopefully you've already watched the almost Emu Guard clip prior to this one and are now more than convinced that while there's even been fleeting glimpses of similar positions at the highest level, Emu Guard really is its own unique position for fighting and grappling. And I hope this instructional helps you dominate training partners and competitors like never before. If you want more information on seminars and other upcoming instructionals, please contact the Dangles YouTube channel or by private message on the SBG Australia Insta page. All the best.